Hey guys, this is Jose. We're going to be doing another ride along with us. We're going to be checking out some houses that we're currently working on. We're currently going through some delays when it comes to materials and deadlines. So I'm going to show you guys what we do to help fight those and prevent any bad experiences or bad interactions with our clients later on. If you guys want to follow me, we are actually doing carpentry right now. So you can see we already went ahead and removed this fascia board. If you guys come a little bit more over here, the reason why we're removing these two fascia boards is because this fascia trim got added on a few years ago, and as you guys can see, it has a different grain. So we want to make sure that all these other fascia boards match that same grain. So it is one of the things that we try to tell people from the beginning is if there's any mismatching of wood that's happening right now in your home and you guys want to take care of it, the best way to do that is by doing it before you paint. Because once it gets painted, like it's painted and it's like ready to go. So if you get it done before you guys do any prep work, it just makes everything easier. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing on the home. So on this project, we're doing all trim. So we're gonna be painting all trim. We're gonna be doing a lot of carpentry work. The reason why John had chose us is because we didn't bat our eyes or think twice when it came to getting ladder placement up here. So a lot of the companies that came out and gave them an estimate, unfortunately, we're going to be struggling with being able to paint these pillars. And for us, it's something that we do on a daily basis. So we don't see an issue with it at all. So that's one of the things that allowed us to get this job. And then I think just being very transparent about carpentry is also a very big thing to us. A lot of companies said, yeah, you need carpentry work, but no one was able to give them a ballpark. And I think when you're painting your home, one of the biggest things here in Seattle is, because we are the rainy state, is you do get a lot of carpentry work that needs to be done on your home. So when you get a price on paint, yeah, that's great. But when you get a price on your carpentry work before you actually sign on, I think that's amazing. And that's something that we do. And it allows you to know 100% what pricing is going to go into your home when painting instead of getting any surprises later down the road. So I think this is what helped us get this project here. As you guys can see, we already have one coat on all the trims for carpentry work. And I told them, I was like, hey guys, like push those jobs out. I'd rather focus on carpentry here. And it's because at the end of the day, it's like, that's the biggest thing I think on the home.
I think the only thing I would say, like the challenge of this job has been like, if you guys went the first day and like painted all the stuff, I'm like, hey, there's some carpentry that needs to be done. Like that needs to change. Those two boards right there, like, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, why don't you come out here?
So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys is this is a really great example of why we do what we do and why we're really good at it. So a lot of companies came out here and they saw the 3 stories of this home and they got scared. We are based out of Seattle, so all the homes that we paint are on the hill. So what we're used to is obviously coming up with solutions and figuring out how to get this home painted the right way. So if you guys follow me. You guys will see here, we have ladders placed up, and as you can see, it's really tight. So in order for them to get up in the ladder, they're like really close to the pines. For some people it's an issue and they bring scaffolding, which is, yes, could be an option. But for this home and the time frame and deadline that the customer had, we needed to make sure that we did what was the most efficient, which was coming up the ladder and installing carpentry pieces. So he had a lot of rotten wood along the top there. So we went ahead and we cut all the rotten wood out and we replaced it with new pressure treated wood and then a pre-primed trim fascia board on top as well. So this is an example of why we're really good at what we do. All right guys, we just got done with our first walk around on this house. Now we're gonna go over to the second house, so let's go. So we are at Chris and Mondi's house today. They reached out to us because they have trim that was failing, so there's a lot of peeling paint and bubbling happening. On top of that, there was caulking that was installed from the last painter. Unfortunately, it was acrylic latex, so obviously it started failing right away. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing all the caulking and then using our oil-based caulking to go in and seal everything up so that way there's no water intrusion, or we also prevent any rotten wood in the future. So that's what we're going to be doing on the home. And on top of that, there's some carpentry that needs to be done. So we're going to take a look and get that taken care of. We like to generate an estimate with the exact amount of hours and the wood that's needed. So that way we have a more formal estimate compared to just going off of like a ballpark number. So again, I talked to you guys about making sure that we give accurate estimates for carpentry. And that's one of the things that we do very, very well. So on this side of the home, there is more sun exposure. So one of the things that we went ahead and did is we coated for us to sand and scrape where needed. So as you can see here, the last painter unfortunately didn't do any priming. So that's why the paint's literally just pulling off like a piece of paper. So we're gonna go ahead and go in and scrape. The shakes can't be sanded, so we're gonna go ahead and just scrape as much as possible and then prime. The areas that we're gonna be sanding in is gonna be on all the trim. So the window frames on the other side of the home are bubbling. So we're gonna go ahead and sand, bring them back to bare wood, and then prime and paint. So we're ready to go and do two-tone windows on this house. You guys can see some of the color selections that we're gonna be going with. So we're gonna go from I believe it's an urban bronze over to a black. So it's gonna be a nice color change with the brick. And they also got a new roof, so it's gonna go just well. Everything's gonna go beautiful. So if you guys can see, Mondi went ahead and added a color sample onto one of the panes on the door, and we went ahead and tried out the black. I believe we're doing tricorn black on the trim. Ventanas, donde se tiene que lijar, se lija. Si te fijas en el work order, ¿cuánto cobramos? A lot of the reasons why this house started peeling was because of the fact that the last painter, unfortunately, looked like he just came in and just painted shakes and siding. When you buy wood, you want to make sure that you put a primer on there. So you seal up the wood and you create adhesion for the 2 coats of paint that you'll put onto the wood. If the paint was pre-primed, what we do is we go ahead on top of that and we do 2 coats of our primer, because the manufactured primer is not the best primer. So that's another reason why we see a lot of peeling paint in our service area. And that's what we do to make sure that we prevent those peelings from happening again in the future. So yeah, so this is a good example of it. And I'm glad we're here and we're gonna fix that and make sure that it gets done and it gets sealed up for the next 15 years. Hey guys, we are on our 3rd house today that we're checking out. One of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is a good example of why prep is very important. Making sure that you're priming and sealing your home up, not just throwing paint on your home is the right thing to do, which is go in, you sand or scrape. So this house I couldn't sand because it has lead, but we did go ahead and we scraped everything we could possibly scrape. And right now we're gonna be letting it dry for a little bit, and then we're gonna be using some primer. Once the primer gets installed, we'll go ahead and let that dry before we do 2 coats of paint. This will allow for us to get adhesion and prevent any bubbles from coming up again, because a lot of these areas that got scraped, they were bubbling already. So that's why we're gonna go ahead and scrape all those down. There was carpentry that needed to be done as well. So if you could see here, these boards were completely rotting out. And the reason why is because there was no flashing atop. So the water just literally would sit on top and it would go down underneath here and it would just stay behind on this wood. So we went ahead and did carpentry work, make sure that that got completely sealed. And then if you guys follow with me, there's also more peeling paint. So like here, all this is peeling, or was peeling at least, now it's scraped. We're still gonna go ahead and replace these. These are rusted out corner caps, sorry. So we're gonna replace all these as well. But you guys can see, like, if these guys rusted out and they're like crumbling apart and they're metal, imagine how bad the home was. So this is a really good example of making sure that you're actually taking care of your home and getting everything done the right way. The same thing that happened over there with the carpentry on the windowsills has happened here on 4 out of the 5 windows. So it goes to show you how bad the rotting was actually happening. And then this vent cover was rotting as well. So we went ahead and replaced, when there's pieces of wood that don't need to be replaced, we don't replace them unless the customer wants us to. And we try to save money as much as possible. This allows you guys to get more done. So as you can see here, the top boards are the ones that got replaced and bottoms are going to be sanded and then primed and painted.